At first glance, this looks like a peaceful Dutch landscape. But 200 years ago, it was part of a clever military defense system.
It's nice to be here now, but I don't think it would have been nice to be here as a soldier.
The Netherlands used the rivers and canals to flood the land and stop invaders. This weekend, I'm cycling through the heart of this UNESCO World Heritage site. I'll be exploring historic forts, now home to birds and bats. And I'm even spending the night inside 2 of them.
Hear the birds? I just started at Fort Everdingen and now I'm heading to a little ferry, the Liniepont. It goes from Fort Everdingen across the river Lek and then I go straight to the Fort Honswijk. There's a reason why there's forts at both sides of the river, of course. Woo. I cycled along the Dutch waterline several times and I really love it. In this video I'm going to show you why. I'm going to bring you along. There's also an easier ferry you can take, a bigger one with the cars. But I just like to have a little bit of adventure. I just rang, there's a phone number and it's coming over now.
Goedemorgen.
Goedemorgen. Dankjewel.
Oké.
No. I'm on way to Fort Honswijk. We're meeting Johan. Hallo, goeiedag. Goedemorgen.
We bevinden ons hier op Fort Honswijk. Fort Honswijk is het grootste torenfort in de nieuwe Hollandse Waterlinies. Je vroeg naar de Hollandse Waterlinie. Het sterke punt daarvan is dat wij met gebrekkige middelen in Nederland toch probeerden een defensief systeem op te bouwen. We maakten gebruik van het strategisch lage polderlandschap, heel veel water en het idee was om het achterland onder water te zetten, zodanig dat een vijand niet door die linie zou kunnen breken.
Together with Fort Everdingen across the river, Fort Honswijk defended the river Lek and its vital sluices. King William II wanted the fort named after himself, but the popular name Honswijk won. Just like the locals, the soldiers gave the building their own names. They nicknamed this hallway the Little Street of Vermeer. The sunlight falls in a unique way through the building, and I have to say, it really feels a bit like standing in one of Vermeer's paintings.
De verwaarlozing van de toren is ook zijn redding geweest. Het is een hotspot wat betreft de vleermuizen. Dus volgens de natuurwetgeving is de toren aangewezen als beschermd object. Ik ben er zelf ontzettend blij mee, want ik denk die authenticiteit die het nu heeft, dat dat over 50 en over 100 jaar waarschijnlijk nog het geval is. En dan is dat zeker de enige toren in de waterlinies die nog zo'n natuurlijke oude uitstraling heeft.
Ja, ja. I'm cycling on the Gedekte Gemeenschapsweg between one fort and the other. And behind here is where the military was hiding. At the shelters here. So if the enemy came, they could just attack from there. I'm at werk aan de Waalse Wetering. And it's very close to the other forts. But over here the land apparently is a little bit higher, although you can't really see that. But because of that they couldn't flood it as well as the other areas. So they needed an extra fort. And on this map you can really see the whole shape of the Dutch waterline. It went the whole way from the IJsselmeer to the Biesbos. And there was also a whole circle of forts around Amsterdam. So all to protect Holland, Amsterdam, where all the big cities were. Have a little look on the top. It's not that you really can see that one part is higher. Apparently that part is higher. But I mean, it's so flat in the Netherlands.
I cycle past the verdronken bos, the drowned forest. During heavy rainfall, this area is flooded to protect the surroundings. It gives a great impression of the historic waterline. Back then, strips of land up to 5 kilometers wide were flooded to stop the enemy. I wouldn't have been able to cycle here. And there's fruit trees here.
Als je kerstje wil proeven, deze zien er heel onrijp uit, maar die groeien bij ons in de kas. Ze zijn hartstikke zoet. Verrassend, hè?
Ja.
Ja.
Lekker. Zoet en een beetje fris ook.
Heel sappig.
Natural apple juice and apple, so going to have that now and then cycle on. So there's loads of places here where you can grab a bite.
Another stall. Apples and pears and juice. So, reached Wijk bij Duurstede. I'm at the graanschuur. You can have a nice drink here next to the mill. I love mills and this is a really pretty one. And it's located next to a very important inundation lock. Inundation is the formal way of saying flooding the land. Before they installed that lock, it could take up to a month to flood the land, which was of course a long time if the enemy was coming. And after it took 4 till 12 days. And they still use the lock for fresh water for the city. I cycle through beautiful Wijk bij Duurstede, once one of the most important trading hubs in the Netherlands. From here I follow the fruit orchards back towards the River Lek. It's so peaceful here, yet even in this tranquility, reminders of darker times appear. Hidden in the greenery are concrete group shelters, built during the First World War to defend nearby Fort Honswijk.
This is where I sleep tonight. So I booked a fort hut on a fort. This is Fort KWU, KWU, and there's a nature campsite here. I'm going to have a shower, have something to eat, and enjoy my well-deserved rest.
The next morning I take the Liniepont ferry again. This time to werk aan het spoor. On sunny days this ferry runs entirely on its own green solar energy. And it's completely operated by volunteers.
We zijn met een grote groep. We zijn met nu ongeveer 20 personen.
Ja.
Ik ben aan mijn 15e seizoen bezig. De schipper is al op 16 of 17 Dus ja, wij vinden het allemaal hartstikke leuk. Dus we blijven allemaal heel lang. Het leuke van dit pontje, normaal gaat een pontje dus van, die steekt recht over. Maar wij gaan dus echt een stukje varen.
Zeepjes van uiterwaarden.
Ja. Oh, leuk.
Ter herinnering.
Ja, dankjewel. Heel lief.
I have reached Wijk aan het spoor. This fort protected a special fence sluice, a clever piece of engineering that could be opened or closed against the water pressure. A huge number of locks were needed to control the inundations.
Cycling through Culemborg. So cute. I'm cycling through Heerlijkheid, Mariënwaerdt, and this has been a family estate for centuries. There's a very popular restaurant here, and I made a reservation because it's Sunday and it's always packed. Everything they produce here, fruit, vegetables, cheese, it's all organic. And they have a shop. They have a very popular lunchroom with great pancakes, gluten-free as well. It's really, really nice. Cycling along another river now, the Linge. And I always connect the Linge with fruit trees, pretty houses. I don't think it's bad to live here. Imagine if you have a house here, you this huge garden with all these fruit trees going the whole way to the river. Wow, these flowers.
Along the river Linge, I can just about make out Fort by Asperen. You really have to look closely, because the military use trees and bushes as clever camouflage. Normally, bikes aren't allowed inside, but it seems I'm lucky today.
He said I can put the bike in the fort, because I have a lot of beer with me. So that's a safe place. Yes.
So I reached Fort Asperen, in my opinion a very beautiful fort, and there's a free exhibition so you can read a lot about that waterline, how they did the inundations, how it all worked. And the roof is made of glass, made by 600 children. They all made their own art pieces on the glass, and you can see it on the top. So here behind me you can see a system where they used to catch the rainwater. The rainwater goes the whole way down to the basement, and there's sand in the system that cleans the water, and that way they could use it as drinking water. Pretty smart.
And you can still hear it dripping.
And this is how they used to sleep, not really comfy. And apparently there were a lot of rules, like they had to be covered totally by the blanket so they wouldn't get a cold. Because, you know, it's pretty damp in here, and it's not that cozy and warm. That's an understatement. Going up to the roof. Sound effect. Oh, imagine. Yeah, when the planes came, the forts became pretty useless. It's really warm here. I think it gives it a very special touch that you can just walk here on your own. It's nice to be here now, but I don't think it would have been nice to be here as a soldier. The continuous threat of the enemy coming, you know? I don't see the enemy now, that's good.
I continue my journey along the Diefdijk. This dike was a crucial part of the defense line, running from Fort by Asperen all the way to Fort Everdingen. It kept the water out while providing cover for soldiers, which is why you see so many group shelters here.
So I'm at the doorgesneden bunker. They basically cut it in two. The route I'm cycling, water als wapen, water as weapon, has that on the cover. That's actually me. A few years ago I've been here with all my different bikes, so I made a picture every time. It's kind of a habit now. Done! Here the map that you can use, or you can just use the GPS.
This 93-kilometer route was created because there's a milestone to celebrate. It's been exactly 5 years since the Dutch water defense lines became a World Heritage Site.
Fort Everdingen.
And that means this unique landscape gets all the extra protection it deserves.
So this is where I sleep tonight. Look, it's cute. My bed. This is the view. You can see the fort. Good morning. I'm having breakfast with a view of the fort. My little adventure comes to an end. The Dutch waterline has such interesting history. I find it remarkable that because of it, all this nature, all these green areas were protected because they were not allowed to build around these forts. So yeah, it was built for war, but now we can really enjoy these spots. And I love these campsites. I definitely will come back to stay here. I bought this yesterday at Heerlijkheid Mariënwaerdt. Lemon curds.